Well, hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mary Barfield. I'm homeschooling mama to a kindergartner and second grader, and I am coming to you from the floor of my study room. It is the Saturday after our first full week of kindergarten and second grade school year. So this video, of course, is going to be a recap, a review, whatever you want to call it, of our first week. I'm going to talk about how it went, anything we changed, anything we added in or took away, all going to be discussed in this video. So stay tuned. All right. So first off, I should say the week as a whole went really, really well. We had a lot we were doing. It was definitely a little bit of a shock going from summer to, oh, we're now doing school. So the first couple of days, the girls were kind of unruly. I would say by the third day, they started to kind of calm down and realize, okay, we're not doing summer anymore. It's not summer school. This is like full school. Like we have a whole schedule we got to get done here. So we kind of got to, focus, do this, move on to the next task so we can have some fun in the afternoon, because our goal is to try and get school done by lunch. Does it happen all the time? No. And that's not because we have that much curriculum. It's just more so because breaks happen. We get a snack, we get distracted, or we go down a rabbit hole on a subject we're learning about and talking about, and the girls want to learn more about it. And so we deviate from our intended schedule and curriculum and we learn about ants. I don't know, it happens, I'm telling you. So, but our goal is to try and get everything done before lunch, if we can. We're not crazy about it because I feel like if I rush my children, they're going to become anxious, manic people, pretty much like me. So I don't want that for them. So I try to keep everything calm, but I do set timers. We have a visual timer. I've shared it in a video before. I was going to see if I could grab it easily. That I say, okay, we're going to read Charlotte's Web for 15 minutes, and I put it there so they know how much time we have. And I think seeing how much time they have in subjects has helped them kind of compartmentalize, okay, we're going to do this, and then I know I get to move on to math after this, and then I get to do handicrafts and then art, and it just kind of helps them understand we're not going to be doing this one activity for the rest of our lives, because I sometimes think they think that unless I explain, hey, we're doing this for 20 minutes, and then we're moving on to the next thing. They're like, okay, great. So the first 2 days, trying to get them back into that routine mindset, they were a little wild. They were a little unruly. They were all over the place. And to be honest, so was I a little bit. So collectively as a group, we kind of reined that in a little bit and fine-tuned. And by Thursday and Friday, we were running smoothly. We were getting things done. And also we kind of made some tweaks to the schedule, which I think helped for Thursday and Friday to run that smoothly. So I'll explain what we did there. So when I first created the schedule for this year, I really wanted to do a morning time. So morning time for us would be a time to do our free read. Right now we're doing Charlotte's Web. It was to go over the date and weather, how we're feeling. I have some character cards from September and Co that we're using, that we're doing. Paddle to the Sea, which is a geography living book. Spanish we're doing then too, all that, right? That was supposed to be our morning time, and I basically scheduled it for no more than an hour every day, and it didn't take that long, by the way. That's just kind of how I scheduled it to start, to kind of be conservative with our time. And I just had this picture in my mind of this beautiful Charlotte Mason morning and doing all this literature and doing all these things, and it was. The problem is that I've realized is that first time in the morning, even before breakfast or after breakfast, is my kids, they are the most energetic, the most in tune, the most focused. And I really need to use that time for things that are maybe what I would say tougher, and that's math and language arts, our core curriculum. Basically the first couple of days we did the morning time, and then we did math and language arts. And by the time we hit math and language arts, they were like what? We have to focus on math right now? And for my kindergarten, that's not that big of a deal, because the math's not getting hard yet, I would say. But for my oldest, who is really trying to nail down her subtraction facts and things like that, she needs as much mental power as she can when she's going through math. Also, it's not her favorite thing to do, to be honest. So I need her primed and ready, and that the best time of day for her is right after she wakes up or right after breakfast. So we went back to our old schedule that we had from last year. It was tried and true. It was working for us then. I don't know why I tried to change it for this year, because I wanted this, beautiful Charlotte Mason morning, I guess. I don't know. I wanted that picturesque time around the table and tea and coffee, and you know, that's fine. I didn't get that. It's okay. We did figure out Thursday and Friday morning. What does work for us is doing math first, then we do our language arts block, and then we do morning time. So it's more like mid-morning. We're doing it at 10 a.m. instead of 9 a.m., which is totally fine. And it totally works. There's no issues there. So moving that to after our core subjects of math and language arts helped tremendously with focus and getting things done. Another thing that we did add, which is totally like plays into the whole Charlotte Mason aesthetic in my head of like what I wanted our morning time to be, we actually added in poetry tea time Thursday afternoons. It's maybe a 20-minute, 30-minute break that we take in the afternoon. By that time, we're done with school, so it's more like a fun thing for the girls. And we are doing our poetry from Build Your Library Zero, and it's National Geographic's book of animal poetry. And this book is, by the way, absolutely beautiful. The images are just chef's kiss. This is a library copy, but to be honest, the girls are really liking it. I might go ahead and splurge and purchase it just so we have this and they can go in here and read any of these poems at any time. So this Thursday, I was talking to the girls because they love tea. They do hot chocolate. My oldest does like tea, so she'll kind of go back and forth, and my youngest has hot chocolate. But I was like, well, why don't we do poetry tea time and do it as a thing every week? And they're like, we can. And so I told them, yes, let's do that. And it was a big hit. They loved it. So what we did was, you know, my youngest got hot chocolate. I got my tea, and my oldest, she had a hot chocolate too this time. And we opened this up, we enjoyed our beverages, had a little cookie with it, we read our poem, and then we still had some time left over, so I actually read our history reading for that day during that time too, and just read some literature, and the girls really liked it. So that was a really awesome addition to our schedule. So we moved things around and then added in poetry tea time in Thursday afternoons. So some curriculum updates to share from this week, some adjustments and tweaks we made. So I told you guys that we were going to be adding in the McGuffey readers for our language arts, for both girls actually. My youngest, I just tried this out with her during the summer. I was like, hey, do you like this? And she kind of really took to it. We had been doing the Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading, which had been going well. And so since she liked this so much, I was like, okay, we will do 1 week of this and 1 week of Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading, and then just kind of go from there. And then if she likes both, we'll keep up with both. If she decides that she wants to do one, we'll cut out the other one and just move forward with that one. Monday morning, I sat down, I said, okay, and I had scheduled this for the week, our first week, and I started pulling the book out, and she goes, well, what about the McGuffey reader? And I said, well, and I explained to her my every other week solution, and she looked at me and she was like, I don't want to do Ordinary Parents Guide to Teaching Reading, I want to do the McGuffey reader. And I was like, forever? Like, you don't want to do an Ordinary Parents Guide? And she said no, which breaks my heart a little bit because I really like the program and it was doing really well for her, but I knew there might be a point that we would go for one or the other. I just didn't think it would be the first week of school. I thought we'd give both a little bit more time. I'm not giving up on this because I think this is a fantastic program and I think it was working really well for her. It's the reason she knows her sounds and letters so well. So I can't let go of it quite yet. So this is gonna hang tight in her magazine holder for language arts. We're gonna keep it. I'm not getting rid of it yet. But as of right now, she told me she wants to only do the McGuffey reader. So I'm gonna follow her wishes because I think this is a great program too. I actually really like it and I'm not upset about it. I was the one who was torn. I was like, can we do both? She was like, no, Mom, we cannot. I was like, all right. So I listened to her. So this week we did just the McGuffey reader. She did so well with it. And we got through, I think, 1.5 lessons actually. We got through lesson 1 and then halfway through what I'm calling our McGuffey loop for lesson 2. And I'll show that to you in a second. Just to show you so she has her kindergarten notebook. I originally was gonna try and see if she could do some of the writing, like write the words out for each lesson. She is 4, almost 5. Charlotte Mason would be mad at me if I made her do any kind of writing like that already. However, she does copy work on her own. She'll like pull a book down and start writing the words from it. So I did let her do it, and she did a cat, a rat, all that stuff, and she wrote the words and she drew a cat and a rat. Hilarious. I am not making this an expectation. I've decided after this week, I'm not making her write anything. If she wants to draw a narration from the story we just read, absolutely, she can do that. Here, she did a narration drawing of, we're doing Charlotte's Web. There's Fern and there's Wilbur at the bottom. I love these drawings. But I decided moving forward, she is not going to be required to write. I'm actually not even going to bring it up again to her. I just think it's too soon. If she wants to orally narrate, because she does like doing that because Sissy does it, so she wants to do it. Totally cool with that. And even if she wants me to write down her narration in here and then she wants to draw a picture, we can do that. But I'm not gonna have her write. If she wants to do that on her own, that's fine, but it's not gonna be part of my expectations for her, at least. Talking about the McGuffey readers, it went really well for my oldest daughter. She didn't have a reading program that we were doing anymore because she had already blown through her phonics last year in first grade. So we just went to her reading. Like, she reads books now, and that's how we were doing her reading for last year once she finished her phonics. Well, I didn't plan to do a reading program this year, but then I stumbled across the McGuffey readers, and she's doing the first eclectic reader. She got through she did 2 lessons this week. She did lesson 8 and 9. 8 and 9, there you go, you can see these. And she really liked it. Now, if you guys watched my last video prepping for first day of school, I'll link it up here if you haven't seen it. You know that I was torn about if I wanted her to use this second grade notebook from School Nest, which has the narrations and it has area to draw and everything. If we wanted to use this for the McGuffey readers and Charlotte's Web and all the other books that we're gonna read, and she's gonna do narration and copy work for her, so basically all subjects. Or if I wanted to go ahead and get a printable from a shop on Etsy, Verily Schoolhouse, which has a lot of beautiful Charlotte Mason digital products, and not just Charlotte Mason, but the McGuffey, and she has all this beautiful stuff in there. It's gorgeous. All of her digital products are beautiful. And I found that she had a companion for the McGuffey readers, and it basically creates a narration notebook and copywork and dictation and all that stuff to make basically the McGuffey reader a whole language arts program. I was like, or should I buy that, use that for the McGuffey reader, and then save this for all other subjects? Well, I decided I would give this week a try just doing this. I didn't want to print off and do something else quite yet. I was like, let's give this a shot. I have come to the conclusion by the end of this week that we are going to use this for all subjects except McGuffey reader. I went ahead and I purchased, I'll link her shop down below and you can go check her out. And I went ahead and I got from her shop the Mason McGuffey lesson book. I printed it off, I laminated the front cover, laminated the back cover, and bound it. But what it is, and like, look how beautiful this is inside. I'm trying to get the glare away. This book belongs to Emery. How pretty is that? So what it is for each lesson, you will have a narration spot, a narration illustration if your child wants to draw her narration, his or her, excuse me. The next page has a place to write all the words from the lesson. If there's a new one, you can write it there and talk about the definition. So basically doing vocabulary. And then on the back, it has a spot for copy work that you can choose from the lesson. And then the last one is a dictation spot. So working on spelling and holding visually the sentence in their mind, and it does help with spelling. And then starts over again for the next lesson. So we're gonna use this just for the McGuffey reader. And this is essentially taking the place of Writing with Ease. I am still using this book as a reference. So when I come up, like if I pull from the lesson, one of the passages, I'm keeping in mind what this says for the week that we're on for this year. Okay, if it's telling me to focus on, so for example, it says for weeks 1 through 3, year 1, it says over these 2 weeks, look for copywork sentences that contain the first name of particular people. Explain to the student that these are called proper names. So this has a lot of grammar and writing structure focus in it. So I am still using it, but I'm using it in conjunction, I guess we'll say, with the McGuffey reader for my second grader. And we're gonna use this notebook. Again, oh, and by the way, I have a code for this and it gets you 10% off anything in her shop. It's just Mary Barfield. I'll also leave that down below. You guys can go check that out because I really liked her stuff. I was like, this is great. It's beautiful. There's art down there. There's morning basket stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff on her shop, but this is really, I think, going to be perfect for my oldest. And then we will use this for all other subjects. So like for our free reads, here, I'll show you an example. So for example, right here, she did a narration drawing from when we read Charlotte's Web. It was the first chapter where this is Fern holding the pig in her lap, feeding it a bottle. So that was hers. This isn't conducive for what I was trying to do with this, the narration, the copy work, the dictation, and writing of the words. The way it's set up, it just doesn't allow for that. It was kind of tough. I needed more lines drawn. For example, here, like this was our lesson on Thursday. I had to draw these in, and that just took too much time. And this is just more efficient, I think, is the best way to explain it. And the great part is I purchased it once, and then I can print it out every year after this and create new notebooks for all the girls. Okay, speaking of the McGuffey readers, and I mentioned a loop. So if you guys aren't familiar with loop schedule, you create things that you want done, and then you start at the top and you get done as much as you can, and then your day's over, and then you stop right where you are, and then the next day you pick up where you left off, and then swing back up to the top and loop back around, and you get the idea. So it's a little different I printed this off on Canva using a template that I had from what I printed out for our riches. I just kind of wanted it all to, match. This is in my parents' resource binder so that I can reference this at any time. But basically, Charlotte's loop, because she's in kindergarten, she'll read the letter blend sounds. She'll read words, and I'm doing a McGuffey lesson with her for 5 to 10 minutes, maybe max. And if we've hit that 10-minute and she's like stopped after reading words, then we'll pick up the next day at 3, read the sentences in the passage. The next one is orally narrate or draw a picture. So have her narrate the lesson to me, and then she can draw a picture for it, and I can write her narration down if she wants me to. And then the last one is, once we've done all that, the next step we'll do is we are going to reread the sentences and passages just so she has it, extra practice, she has those words in her mind, etc. And then for Emery, my second grader, she'll read the words and sentences / passage for the lesson because she's able to do that very quickly. She's a strong reader. Then she will orally narrate to me. She's in second grade, so per Charlotte Mason, she should not be doing written narrations. I am not going to stop her if she wants to do a written narration, though. She likes to write. I'm not going to stop her. I might even encourage her, even though she's in second grade. I might encourage it, but I'm not right now making it a steadfast rule that she has to do written narration yet. And then if optional, she loves drawing, so let her draw a picture of the narration. Number 4 is read and write her word list. So she has to write each of these words. So for lesson 8, we have head, he, gnat, come, with, and. Those 6 words she wrote down. I wrote it for her copy work style in her book, and then she wrote underneath it the word twice to 1, work on penmanship, but 2, understand how the words are formed, spelling, things like that. So that's what I mean by she has to read and write her words 2 times. And then the 5th is copy work, so I'll select a passage from that day's lesson, write it down for her. She'll copy it underneath my writing. And then dictation, we'll be working on one of those passages throughout the time that we're working on the lesson for her to hold it in her mind's eye and just not memorize it necessarily, but if I say he went to the store to buy eggs, if she's doing dictation right by the end of the week, she should be able to write me just say he went to the store to buy eggs and her be able to write it down with proper capitalization, punctuation, and spelling. So that's our McGuffey readers loop for both my girls, and we're just gonna follow this at their speed based on how they're doing. Emery's flying through it right now because I started her back a little bit because I wanted her to feel confident and comfortable with the readers. Charlie's obviously a new reader. She's just figuring this all out. She's starting to read CVC words, which is really exciting. So we're just gonna go at each of their speeds. Slow, fast, doesn't matter. So talking about my youngest daughter, I did not make one of these lesson books for her because I think this is, I probably won't even introduce it in first grade. Maybe I will. It just depends on how strong of a reader she is. I think second grade was a good time to introduce this for my oldest. I'll see how my youngest does, but she didn't get one of those. She was a little upset, but I told her I had something for her. So I got this from For the Love of Homeschooling. I'll link it down below. It's their My Morning Notebook. And the great thing is they had so many covers. It's a digital product, and so you print it off yourself. They had so many different covers and options that she could pick from, and I knew as soon as I saw the foxes, my youngest would pick this one because she loves foxes. So this is for her. My oldest knows her months, years, dates, calendar stuff, so she didn't need one of these. My youngest does. So it's all dry erase, and I laminated it, and so we will go over this every morning, what month it is. I've only printed out August and September so far. I'll add the other ones later. This is, by the way, the bindings that I have are like they can click back and forth like a binder, so I can add pages in here as I need. It's kind of nice. Then the next thing is today is, and then she circles the day, the month, and then she writes out the day of the week, the month, day, and year. So it helps with handwriting practice, understanding the date. This on the back is great. The time is, we haven't done this one yet because she's not quite doing time yet. I might start doing digital with her just to kind of get her used to telling the time and talking about AM and PM. Then we have the weather today, so we can go over that. We've got a big window behind the camera that shows us the outdoors. They always love to go outside first thing in the morning and run around with the dogs, so they always know if it's hot, cold, etc. So, and then when we come up here and we sit down to go over this, it'll be easy for her. I think it's so funny though. There's a tornado. Like, I'm sorry if I'm sitting down with my kids, hey, is there a tornado outside? We're not gonna be in the playroom or study room. We're gonna be down underneath our stairs closet. And then last but not least, how are you feeling today? So great time to talk about emotions, how you're feeling for the day, set the day up right. So she loves this. This morning, Saturday morning, she came downstairs with a dry erase marker and said, Mommy, can I do this today? I was like, yeah, of course. So she's very pumped about having her own little thing that's hers. Two other things I wanted to talk about. I don't want to talk about everything because you know I'm chatty as it is, so we don't need to do that. But I wanted to talk about what I would consider big wins this week. Number one, girls absolutely adore Charlotte's Web. Like, they are loving it. And I could not be happier because this is one of my favorite books from my childhood. So kind of, again, core memory thing for me, like sentimental thing that we're doing together. Love it. Just the best. We made it through to chapter 6, so we had been introduced to Charlotte's Webs, and the girls got so excited when we got to meet Charlotte. So could not recommend more for a kindergartner and a second grader. Second thing I wanted to talk about is that I did a little like exit interview with the girls on the last day on Friday after we had finished up everything, and I asked them, I was like, what was your favorite thing from this week? And my oldest said without hesitation, science. And we're doing Blossom and Root. I didn't print out the teacher guide because it's got digital links and stuff like that. Blossom and Root, My Great Space Adventure. It's from their level 0, like kindergarten bundle, or you can buy it individually, just the science. And my youngest also said science. So this was a huge hit. So with this week's lesson, we were introduced to mission control. You read a letter from mission control every week for your lesson, and they tell you what you're going to do this week. And this past week was learning about Zula, who is an alien on another planet having to do a school project on Earth, and she's asking for our help, and we're going to take a trip to go see her on planet L21. This is all made up, obviously. But we got introduced to her, mission control, and then the topic that we learned about was astronauts. We learned about what it's like to be an astronaut because mission control asks you, are you willing to undertake this mission and go see Zula and help her with her project? If so, you've got to be an astronaut. We've got to do all these things. And the girls, I mean, it was like, oh gosh, it was so fun. They got so excited. They were like, oh my gosh, yes, let's do it. I want to do it. So like, it made my heart happy because I was like, okay, we picked the right science this year. So I gotta tell you, I really love Blossom and Root for science. Her sciences are just so good. It makes me second guess wanting to move away from her for next year. I still got a whole year to figure out if we're going to do elemental science biology or if I'm going to move forward with her grade 2, because I already own it, grade 2, the plant and fungi kingdoms. That's her second grade science. So I don't know. She does science so well, y'all. So I don't know. I've got a whole year to figure out that. We're not gonna worry about that right now. But this went so well with the girls. The other thing, because they also said, I said, do you have anything else? Because they both said science. I was like, okay, anything else? And my oldest said her second favorite thing was doing handicrafts, and this term's handicraft. We're doing finger crocheting, and she figured out how to not just do the first chain, but then she came up back around and did a second row. And man, as soon as she connected how to do that, she took off, you know, and just kept going. And I was like, okay, well, wait, we got to move on to another topic now. So crocheting is now one of her favorite things, which makes me happy. And then no surprise here, my kindergartner's second favorite thing is math. She's my math girl. She loves it. It's her favorite. I totally was not shocked by her saying that. But yes, both of them absolutely loved science. I think this year is going to be a really good year with science. All right, y'all, I think that is everything that I wanted to talk about in this video from this first week. We had a really awesome week. It's a lot more time and heavier than last year's schedule, but I also only had a pre-K and a first grader, so things are kind of starting to pick up with my second grader. Obviously, my expectations for my kindergartner are math, and I want her to learn reading. Those are the two things we're focusing on this year. If she wants to sit for anything else, definitely makes my heart happy, but I'm not going to get crazy about her doing all the things that I'm doing with my second grader, because I just don't think that's fair based on their ages and, you know, maturity level. Also, my dog is right here. Hold on. You want to come over here? Come on, Sage. She's my husky. But yes, so everything went really well this week. Could not say enough better things. Once we got our schedule figured out for Thursday and Friday, that made a world of difference and just made things a ton easier. Attitudes were better by then. Also, we had gotten into the flow and just back into the groove of being back on a school routine. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned in this video, just leave it down in the comments. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you stick around. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.